Hello, and welcome back to Forever Strong Seniors. If you're here, it means you care, not just about aging, but about aging well. Today's topic might hit a little close to home, but that's exactly why it matters. Why do so many elderly people not live past 75? Is it fate, genetics, or something else entirely? The truth is, what determines your life after 75 often happens between the ages of 65 and 75. This is the decade that makes or breaks everything. That's why we're diving deep into the hidden choices and everyday habits that quietly shape our future. If you're between those ages, or know someone who is, this may be one of the most important conversations we ever have. Let's start with a simple truth. Most people think of 65 as the beginning of retirement, a time to finally slow down, travel, or spend more time with family. And it should be. But what many don't realize is that this phase also quietly marks the final lap of your body's resilience. The way you treat yourself in this 10-year span sets the stage for everything that comes after. It can mean the difference between being active and independent at 80, or being bedridden and dependent by 73. I once spoke to Mr. Leonard, a retired bus driver who just turned 84. When I asked him the secret to his long life, he didn't talk about vitamins or Lucky Charms. He said, "I kept moving and kept laughing. That's all." Simple, right? But deeply powerful. Leonard worked part-time until he was 73. Not because he needed the money, but because it gave him purpose. He took brisk walks every morning, even when his knees complained. And most of all, he made peace with the world around him. That's what this decade, 65 to 75, is really about. It's not about doing something dramatic. It's about doing small things with intention. And that brings us to one of the biggest myths we need to dispel. The idea that fate decides how long we live. It doesn't. Our daily actions do. You don't need to spend money on fortune tellers, healing bracelets, or spiritual predictions. What you need is a balanced diet, gentle movement, a calm mind, and meaningful relationships. When we stay engaged with life, mentally and emotionally, our body follows suit. Longevity isn't just about physical health. It's deeply tied to your spirit. If you spend your days worrying about things you cannot change, clinging to the past, or replaying old regrets, it eats away at your peace. And peace, at this age, is medicine. Let's also talk about movement, literal movement. One of the biggest threats to the elderly is not illness. It's falling. A fall that breaks a hip or leg can quickly spiral into loss of mobility, infections, hospital stays, and depression. Many don't recover. That's why the small things matter. Installing good lighting in hallways, removing loose rugs, and using walking aids without shame. These are not signs of weakness. They're acts of wisdom. Another silent enemy during this golden decade is overexertion. You've worked your whole life. Now is not the time to push yourself like you're still in your 40s. But oddly enough, many seniors feel the need to prove they're still strong, lifting heavy things, climbing stairs without assistance, taking on tasks that quietly exhaust them. You don't need to prove anything. Your worth isn't measured by what you can carry or fix. It's measured by your ability to care for yourself so that others don't have to. Financial stress is another hidden risk. Many elderly individuals feel ashamed when they're not financially independent, so they keep working or live in fear of being a burden. But the truth is, planning ahead in your 60s, accumulating enough savings, setting up modest investments, and learning to live within your means can protect your peace in the long run. You don't need a big house or luxurious vacations. What you need is the freedom to make choices without guilt or debt hanging over you. And here's a sensitive one. Extreme frugality. Many seniors, especially those who lived through hard times, develop a habit of saving everything, even to the point of eating leftovers gone bad or refusing to buy basic things they need. Saving is good, but what are you saving for, if not to live well now? You can't take it with you, but you can take joy in a good meal, a new sweater, or a comfortable mattress. Spend wisely, yes, but also spend meaningfully. Before we wrap up this first part, I want to touch on one final idea: independence. And no, I don't mean doing everything alone. I mean maintaining your own space, your own decisions, your own home, if possible. selling your house at the first sign of retirement, or moving in with your children just because they suggest it. Might sound practical, but it can leave you feeling rootless. A familiar space, one you control and feel safe in, is a huge part of mental well-being. Of course, there are exceptions, but don't rush that decision. Think long-term, not just emotionally. In our next part, we'll talk about the temptations that mislead us, like buying useless health gadgets, arguing with partners, or rushing into new relationships out of loneliness. But for now, I'd love to hear from you. What habits from age 65 to 75 do you think have the biggest impact on living past 75? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. In our last video, we explored how the years between 65 and 75 quietly determine the direction of your health and happiness after age 75. We touched on the importance of movement, financial independence, and maintaining your own space. But there's more, much more, that often goes unnoticed yet slowly chips away at a senior's well-being. Let's begin with something you see all the time on TV and online. Health products promising miracles. From magical supplements to home diagnostic machines, the market is flooded with items claiming to extend life, boost memory, or reverse aging. Now, are all of them scams? Not necessarily. But here's the issue. Many older adults buy these products without fully understanding what they're taking or whether it's even necessary. I've seen people in their 70s spending hundreds of dollars every month on pills they can't pronounce and don't really need. The truth is, you don't need a cabinet full of supplements. What you need is clarity. Get regular checkups. Talk to your doctor. Eat a variety of whole foods, move daily, and stay hydrated. Those are the things that keep your body going. Most of the time, real health doesn't come in a bottle. It comes from habits. You don't need to chase the latest trend. You need to trust the basics. Next, let's talk about relationships. Specifically, the one that often matters most in old age, your life partner. When your children grow up and start their own lives, when the house gets quieter, it's your partner who's still there, sharing your space, your meals, your days. But here's the problem. Some couples, after decades together, start turning on each other. Little arguments become daily battles. Silence turns into emotional distance. And what was once a peaceful retirement becomes a stressful coexistence. If you're lucky enough to have someone by your side in these years, don't waste the time fighting. Don't argue over small things like who forgot to close the fridge or what's on TV. This is the stage of life when peace matters more than pride. A kind word, a listening ear, a shared laugh, that's the real medicine. Resentments? Let them go. Disappointments? Talk them through. You're not just growing old together. You're walking each other home. And what about those who've lost a partner? Loneliness in old age is real. It's heavy. It lingers. Some seniors rush into new relationships, thinking it will solve the emptiness. But the truth is, remarriage at this stage of life isn't simple. Two people, each with decades of habits, routines, families, and emotional history. It's not like starting fresh at 30. That's why it's okay to take your time. It's okay to stay single. What you need more than a new spouse is a sense of emotional stability. Good friendships, hobbies, a reason to get up in the morning. Those matter more than forcing a new romantic chapter that might only bring more stress. Now, let's talk about something a bit controversial, nursing homes. Are they always bad? Of course not. They serve an important role, especially for seniors who need 24/7 medical care. But here's what you don't hear enough. Many elderly people enter care facilities far too early. They go not because they're truly unable to care for themselves, but because someone else thinks it's more convenient. Maybe their children live far away. Maybe they're afraid of being alone. And so the decision is made. But moving to a nursing home is not just about location. It's about identity. When you leave your home, you leave behind more than a building. You leave behind your memories, your daily rituals, your freedom to wake up when you want and eat what you like. That sense of agency is priceless. If you're still capable of living independently or with some in-home help, hold on to it. Hire a caregiver if needed. Rearrange your home for safety. But don't give up your autonomy too quickly. It's one of the last gifts you have. Another overlooked part of senior life is the fading of work relationships. When you retire, The colleagues you once chatted with every day begin to drift. Some stop calling. Others move away. At first, this can feel like rejection. But it's not. It's just life. People move on. It's natural. What matters is how you handle that shift. Don't take it personally. Instead, start creating new connections. Look for neighbors to greet, community groups to join, or even online spaces for people your age. Loneliness isn't cured by having many friends. It's cured by having a few good ones you trust. And finally, let's touch on one of the hardest lessons of aging. You can't control your children's lives. As you grow older, it's easy to feel frustrated or disappointed when your kids don't visit as often, call as much, or do things the way you think they should. But here's something to remember. They're living in a different world now, fast, demanding, and full of pressure. That doesn't mean they love you any less. It just means their plates are full. Learn to love them from a distance. Let go of control, and you'll find peace. Now, let's shift our focus to something just as powerful but often underestimated. How we treat our bodies, and how our physical habits, especially around food, rest, and stress, can either quietly extend our lives or slowly take years off without us even noticing. Let's begin with something as simple as food. For many older adults, eating becomes more about routine than nourishment. Breakfast is just toast and tea. Lunch is leftovers. Dinner? Whatever's easy. But here's the thing. Your body doesn't process food the same way it did at 40 or even 60. Your metabolism slows down. Your digestion becomes more sensitive. That's why overeating, or eating the wrong kinds of foods, can have serious consequences after 65. There's an old saying that goes, eat just enough to be full and live a long life. And that's true. Seniors should eat to nourish, not to indulge. Focus on lighter meals with high-quality ingredients. Swap greasy or salty snacks for fresh fruit, whole grains, and protein-rich foods like beans, tofu, or grilled fish. Cut back on sugar, not just in desserts, but also in those so-called healthy drinks that are loaded with hidden sweeteners. Drinking water regularly is more important now than ever. And one tip many overlook, take a gentle walk after meals. It doesn't need to be long. Just 10 minutes around the house or garden can aid digestion and reduce fat buildup over time. But what about foods we've always loved? The rich stews, crispy fried snacks, salty pickles? They may bring comfort, yes, but as we age, they bring consequences, too. High-fat, high-sodium diets dramatically increase the risk of heart disease, strokes, and kidney issues. And for older adults, these conditions aren't just dangerous, they're life-altering. A small stroke might not kill you, but it could take away your ability to speak or walk, making the rest of your life dependent on others. Food is more than just taste, it's fuel. And now more than ever, the fuel you choose matters. Now let's talk about sleep. Many older adults underestimate how vital sleep is to healing and regeneration. Some believe that waking up multiple times a night is just a normal part of aging. And yes, sleep patterns do change as we grow older. But poor sleep shouldn't be accepted as inevitable. It should be seen as a signal. Insomnia, frequent waking, or light sleep can often be improved by adjusting daily routines. Avoid heavy meals or caffeine in the evening. Create a quiet, dark, and cool sleeping environment. Stick to a consistent bedtime. And try relaxing habits like reading, stretching, or listening to calming music before sleep instead of watching the news or scrolling through your phone. Why is this so important? Because sleep isn't just about rest, it's about repair. Deep sleep helps the brain clear toxins, supports memory, regulates mood, and allows the body to heal from daily stress. Without good sleep, you're more likely to suffer from memory loss, emotional instability, and even weakened immunity. You don't just feel tired, you begin to feel older. And speaking of emotional health, this is where many seniors suffer in silence. Emotional stress, bottled up sadness, suppressed anger. These are not just mental burdens. They affect the body in very real ways. Studies show that up to 95% of illnesses in old age are influenced by emotional states. When we feel anxious or bitter, our bodies release cortisol and adrenaline, stress hormones that raise blood pressure, suppress immunity, and damage the heart and nervous system over time. You might not feel the effects right away, But over the months, over the years, that stress builds. And then one day, it shows up as a heart problem or a chronic illness. That's why emotional hygiene is just as critical as brushing your teeth or taking your medication. Let go of old grudges. Avoid unnecessary arguments. Speak gently to yourself. And allow yourself moments of laughter and gratitude, even in the smallest things. There's one more key that ties all of this together: movement. Many people believe that exercise becomes risky after 65. But what's riskier is not moving at all. Joints stiffen, muscles weaken, balance worsens, and the longer you sit, the harder it becomes to stand. But let me be clear, this doesn't mean seniors need to run marathons. The best exercise for aging bodies is gentle, consistent, and intentional. Walking is one of the most underrated tools for long life. So is Tai Chi, yoga, stretching, or swimming. Even dancing in the living room for 5 minutes can boost circulation and mood. The key is consistency. Not once a week, not when you feel like it, but a little every day. Build it into your life, like brushing your teeth, non-negotiable. Because every step, every stretch, every breath you take in movement is a step away from decline and a step toward dignity. To summarize, food nourishes the body, sleep repairs it, and movement keeps it alive. Emotional peace binds it all together. These are not complicated prescriptions, but they are powerful ones. Often, the real secret to living past 75 isn't about what you add to your life, but what you protect within it. Your balance, your routine, your inner calm. In our final part, we'll discuss what happens when illness enters the picture, how to face it with grace, how to avoid being a burden, and how to pass through the final chapters of life with peace and dignity. If you've come this far, you're already proving that you care enough to live with intention. Now, if you're still staying with us in this video, I want to thank you. It means you're not just watching, you're reflecting. And that's the first step toward a longer, better life. In this last chapter, we're going to talk about something that many fear but few prepare for: illness, decline, and the final years of life. These moments are deeply personal, often painful, but if faced with clarity and strength, they can also be peaceful and dignified. Let's begin with a truth many avoid. Aging eventually brings illness. It could be something mild, a bad back, weak legs, or poor eyesight, or something more serious like diabetes, cancer, or stroke. But what often determines the quality of our final years isn't the illness itself. It's how we respond to it. When health starts to decline, many older adults begin to feel helpless. They grow angry, withdrawn, or even bitter. Some lash out at loved ones. Others fall into silence. But here's the thing. Your mindset during this time matters more than ever. I once met a woman named Helen. She was 79, battling stage 4 cancer, and fully aware her time was limited. But what struck me wasn't her diagnosis. It was her calm. She kept her room filled with music and fresh flowers. She laughed with her grandkids, even as her body grew weaker. "I want my children to remember my smile," she told me, "not my suffering." Helen taught me something that day. How we face illness can either create trauma or peace for those we love. If we choose to stay calm, patient, and grateful even through pain, we give our families something precious, a sense of emotional safety. But when we let illness make us bitter or demanding, we leave behind a heavier burden than just medical bills. Another lesson that often goes unspoken: don't bind your children with guilt. In today's world, most people are juggling jobs, bills, raising kids, and more. They love you, but they can't always be by your side 24/7. And that's okay. Asking for help when needed is important, but expecting your children to sacrifice everything, every hour, every weekend, their own dreams, can build quiet resentment. The most graceful seniors are the ones who prepare. They set aside a small fund for emergencies. They hire a caregiver if needed. They let their children know where the documents are, insurance, wills, medical decisions, so no one has to scramble when crisis hits. And most importantly, they say what matters. Not just "I need you," but "I'm proud of you. I love you. I'll be okay." That brings us to another powerful choice. Keep growing. Just because you're in your 70s or 80s doesn't mean learning stops. In fact, The elders who age the best are often the ones who stay curious. They try new hobbies, ask questions, even pick up new skills. I once saw a 76-year-old man learn to play guitar simply because he said, "I always wanted to." The joy on his face when he played his first song? Priceless. When you keep learning, you remind yourself, and the world, that you're still here, still vibrant, still worthy. It's not about mastering something new. It's about staying mentally alive. That alone can delay cognitive decline, improve mood, and even extend life expectancy. And yes, eventually, all of us will have to face our final moments. Some will have time to prepare. Others won't. But what we can all do is live in such a way that, when the moment comes, we're not filled with regrets. We can use our remaining years to mend broken relationships, to forgive, to share memories, to bless the next generation, not with money or land, but with stories, lessons, values, and love. Some of the strongest people I've ever met are those who have made peace with death, not because they gave up, but because they knew they lived fully. They didn't let resentment win. They didn't waste time pretending to be young again. They accepted the moment, faced it with courage, and made space for their families to move forward with love. So, what does it all come down to? It's not about avoiding death. None of us can do that. But it is about living in a way that brings peace, not panic. Dignity, not despair. From age 65 to 75, and beyond, every small decision matters. What you eat, how you think, who you forgive, how you move, and what you let go of. All of it adds up. And those who choose wisely, they often live longer. But more importantly, they live better. Before we end this series, I want to share a simple message. You are not done yet. Your life still matters. Your words still carry weight. Your smile still lights up someone's day. So take care of yourself, not just for your own sake, but for everyone who loves you. Your presence, your wisdom, your calmness, they are all gifts. Don't underestimate their power. If this video gave you something to think about, something to reflect on, please let us know in the comments. What was the one insight or story that stayed with you the most? We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. And if you haven't seen the previous parts, go back and watch them. Each one builds on the last. And if this helped you, consider sharing it with a loved one who may need it too. Thank you for spending your time with us here at Forever Strong Seniors. Remember, every day is a new opportunity to choose life, peacefully, intentionally, and with heart. Until next time, take care of yourself, and keep walking gently through this world.